And we're live with another episode of BS Busters. We got started a little bit early today because we have a fuller cast than usual. And the topic of this BS Busters is mind-blowing gaming moments. These are moments where a game just something happened and it was so badass that you were just like, this really, yeah. And we're talking about things where, like, it's never been topped again. Like, even if it's a game that's in a franchise, you've never had that feeling again. Maybe it's gotten close, but it's never reached that point again. So, who wants to go first?
For me, I think it would be the first time I actually tried some interesting control schemes, like what was it? Oh yeah, when I had motion control work right for me, and it didn't feel awkward.
All right.
Let's see. For me, it's got to be the subspace emissary cutscenes from Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah, those are pretty badass. Kanoshi?
For me, it has to be the effects egg quest and Majora's Mask, because I was like, my expectations were completely changed, because I was like, all right, I gotta find these eggs so this person can sing again, and I can open up the temple. And it turns out, well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played the game, but I was just really surprised.
You find out why she couldn't sing, and why that fish guy went out by himself to go get those eggs. It's kind of heartbreaking. Majora's Mask has a lot of like really heartbreaking shit in it. Like it's a very dark Legend of Zelda game, one of the darkest. For me, I'm gonna say an oh shit moment, like a great moment, a mind blowing gaming moment, and it hasn't been topped yet. And I'm gonna use a Pokemon game as an example. Pokemon Sun and Moon. Sorry, not Sun and Moon. Pokemon Gold and Silver. When you fight your way through the 8 gyms in the Johto region, you go to the Pokemon League HQ, and you fight the Elite Four, you fight the champion, and then you're thinking, yeah, I beat the game. If you played like Red or Blue, you're like, yeah, it's great. They're like, no, wait, motherfucker. Guess what? You get to go to Kanto, fight your way through those 8 gyms, and then fight that Elite Four. And they haven't topped that yet in a Pokemon game. Like, no other Pokemon game has managed to give you that level of playability.
But nowadays, the Kanto post-game region feels more like a chore than an actual wow moment once you've played it so many times.
Well, I mean, I'm not someone who plays that game like 2-3 times a year. Yeah, it's like once every 4 or 5 years, but it's still, that's like, wow, like all of this content, my God. The only game that gives me that level of wow, look at all this shit that I have that I can do is when I played Legend of Zelda when I was a little kid, Link to the Past. And like, you have to remember, like, you're looking at, like, you're talking about a kid that's like 3 or 4 years old.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't play every version and hasn't played the Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
No, I played that too. Yeah. I like a lot of the music remixes in that game. But anyway, you play Link to the Past, and basically, one of the cool things, I'm talking like a 3 or 4 year old kid, which at that point I'd been playing games that you could beat in like an hour and a half top. Now you play Link to the Past. This is a huge game, like at the time, okay? And basically, like, Link to the Past, I'm 3 or 4 years old, so my reading skills are not that good. They're better than the average 3 or 4 year old, but like not
limited.
Yeah, not the best. So basically, I figure out how to defeat Aghanim. I'm like, yeah, I beat Aghanim. Yeah, I beat the game. Fought my way through 5 dungeons. Beat the game. Yeah. Nope. go to the dark world, and then realize, oh shit, there's like a whole nother world to play for. God damn. That was a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah.
And I haven't played a Legend of Zelda game that has reached that level of wow-ness for me since then. Like they've tried, they really tried to do that with Ocarina of Time. But the problem with Ocarina of Time is that how can I put this nicely? The problem with Ocarina of Time is that Ocarina of Time is like Ocarina of Time is like an imperfect version of Link to the Past. If I can put that.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think now I'm not saying it's a bad game when I say this, but I think Ocarina of Time is a tad bit overrated. Maybe it's because I didn't play it at the time it came out.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't want to say it's overrated. I just want to say that it's not as good as people. Like okay, it deserves. The act. Like okay, for me, Ocarina of Time is like Legend of Zelda. It's like Final Fantasy VII. Ocarina of Time is a big deal because it's the first time Legend of Zelda was in 3D, and that's kind of and it added a lot of stuff that has become staple for the series, like the Z targeting and the more dynamic combat and stuff like that. The problem with Ocarina of Time is that because it's the first 3D game, there's a lot of problems that they hadn't quite worked out because it was the first game in 3D. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, like okay, like all the little puzzles and like how they wanted to do certain dungeons in 3D, like they don't. Some of the puzzles work really well. Some of them are like that didn't quite work because you guys didn't have quite a grasp on the 3D space, which is why for me,
like the water temple.
Well, I mean the water temple. I mean every single temple has certain puzzles that don't really work because it's in 3D and they hadn't quite perfected how to do this in 3D yet. Majora's Mask puzzles suffer from the same problem. I mean, the overall game is better, it's smoother, but some of those puzzles are like, really? For real?
It's that easy, or whose idea was this?
Well, it's not that easy. It's just like there's certain puzzles where, like, okay, a Legend of Zelda puzzle should be like this. Basically, you go into a room and you're like, how is this going to work? And then as you walk around the room, you begin to put together clues from where things are placed and the way things are set. Okay, this is how I can solve this puzzle this way. Or if it's a puzzle that has multiple solutions, you figure out a way that's going to work for you. Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, like there's some puzzles where it's like, unless you have a walkthrough or you watch someone solve it, or like you just kind of like you got to kind of figure it out through trial and error, which I mean you don't want to get frustrated when you're figuring out a puzzle, and that was kind of a flaw. I mean that's why for me, like I know a lot of people are gonna get angry at me, but I like Twilight Princess because Twilight Princess is basically like it feels like everything that they couldn't quite get in Ocarina of Time they fixed with Twilight Princess. Like they're like, okay, like for me, like Twilight Princess Ocarina of Time 2.0, we figured it out edition, and that's basically. And yet, even though I love Twilight Princess, there's still some stuff that it doesn't do as well as Link to the Past. That they're still struggling with in 3D Legend of Zelda games. Like in Link to the Past, the first time you go to Hyrule Castle, you rescue Princess Zelda, you sneak into the castle. That whole thing, you go through the sanctuary you go through the sewer to get to the sanctuary. That's one big tutorial. It doesn't feel like one. You learn every skill that you need in order to get through every other dungeon in the game just from that experience. And yet it doesn't beat you over the head with it. And yet every other Legend of Zelda game, it's like, hey, this is a tutorial. Hey, guess what? You're doing a tutorial. Listen, you stupid motherfucker. It's a tutorial.
Yeah.
And this is a bad thing because
What, that it's beating you over the head, that it's a tutorial? Well, there's nothing necessarily wrong about being told that you're in a tutorial, but it's a testament to how well designed a game is when you're going through a tutorial and you don't know it.
Yeah, that's why, like, that's one of the things Breath of the Wild got right.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Because the Great Plateau is one big tutorial. It doesn't tell you, but it basically is one big fucking tutorial.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't.
And it isn't subtle about it because you can't even leave the Great Plateau unless you do it.
I'm sure somebody's figured out a glitch or something.
I'm sure they have, but I mean, by and large, it's just. I mean, I haven't seen a 3D Legend of Zelda game that gives you a tutorial that isn't like beating you over the head like with a big meat salami. This is a tutorial, either directly or indirectly. The closest I've gotten is maybe Majora's Mask. Like how you have to move around Clock Town, or how you have to get out of certain places before you learn the song, that weird song that basically gets the song of healing, and so you can get that mask off your face. But it's just, you know.
Well, there is a tutorial level where you get on how to play as Deku Link.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be cool, but I mean, even then, there's kind of a tutorial. So, I mean, a really good game, like Mario 64, gives you I mean, that's why in some ways Mario 64 is slightly better than you know, the later 3D Mario games, because basically you get a huge tutorial without you getting a tutorial, because basically when you're in the courtyard you can run around, climb, swim, like all the things you need in order to get through the game. You can experiment in a safe space if you early on, and that's, I mean, like that type of game design is amazing to me. Like, I love it. I love that someone actually took the time to do that. And, you know, not everyone's going to agree with me, and I'm okay with that. I'm not one of those people's like, you agree with me or else. Like, I'm not that type of person, because that's a stupid thing to say.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the Great Plateau they don't tell you about that you can do. Oh, I mean, a lot.
Well, yeah, but generally speaking, almost everything you need to know in order to get to the end of the game, you learn on the Great Plateau. Like, you learn how to use your 4 runes. You learn how to use the glider, and it's like you learn about how to basically ignite shit and use the updraft in order to get, you know, greater height. And that's interesting. I mean, a lot of the other stuff that you don't learn is basically like exploits, either intentional or unintentional exploits due to the physics engine. But that doesn't really count. I mean, for me, exploits don't count as a viable gameplay mechanic, unless your game is so broken that people have to do that in order to, you know, get. People have had to do that with some shitty games, so I can't get. None come to mind right now, but I'm pretty sure we can all think of some games that are so bad where people had to figure out ways to around shit.
Yeah.
That game was so broken. Does
Okay,
anyone
what
have
game?
any other?
Never mind. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, anyone have any other games that they're like, man, this is a moment that just made me go, wow, this blew my mind. This shit's so badass.
Probably the entirety of Super Mario 64 when I first played it or experienced someone else playing it for the first time.
Really? All right.
Anything
Really?
else?
Mario 64. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it was the very first video game I ever experienced and played.
Yeah. That's interesting. I never would have experienced that. I'll do Star Ocean. Anyone here ever played the original Star Ocean?
Can you imagine 3 boys living on that property?
Hold on.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Yeah, Star Ocean is this old, well, I mean, it was remade for the PS1 and the PSP and ported, but originally it was on the SNES. And the big thing about Star Ocean is that it's about this guy. It's about the members of this like Federation type organization, and they crash land on this planet, and these people are living on this planet, have been exposed to this space-borne illness that's actually a biological weapon, and basically they're like the members of this Federation type organization are trying to help these people save themselves from this disease. And basically, like early on in the game, you find this relic from an ancient civilization, and like you keep it throughout the entire game because it's a key item. And then at the end of the game, like as you fight your way through like the final dungeon of the game, it turns out that this thing you picked up early on in the game is a friggin' lightsaber. Like the most powerful sword in the game, and it's a lightsaber. It's like, I'm like, really? You're gonna do that? Wow. You've got balls, son.
Bonkers.
Well, I just thought that was kind of cool that they would give you the most powerful weapon early on in the game, but you don't know it.
It's sure you don't know how to unlock it for a while.
No, it's unlocked via the story, but you don't know it's the most powerful weapon unless you get to the end of the game. I think that's just it would be the equivalent of Pokemon giving you an egg, right? Like they just give you an egg
That had legendary in it.
Like it has the most powerful legendary Pokemon. Like, yeah, check this out. Like that would be insane. No other game I know has done that, where they give you like one of the most powerful weapons early on in the game, but you don't know it. The only game I can think of is maybe shit, I forgot the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Cave Story.
And Game Freak actually did try to do something like that in Sun and Moon, but because of leaks and because of data mine leaks, it was already spoiled for the rest of the gamers before the game came out.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one, but we can agree to disagree. So any other oh my lord moments where it's like, wow, that's pretty badass?
I'd say when you get to the kingdom. I'd say when you get to the kingdom of Zeal and Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. Did you see all this technology and whatnot?
Yeah, all that
Oh,
magic
oh.
technology and shit. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll tell you an oh shit moment. Oh my God moment. When basically Kefka murders the emperor and basically becomes the god of magic. And like he basically wins. Like most RPGs, you're trying to stop the villain from doing some dastardly deed, but Kefka actually succeeds. Not only does he succeed, he then breaks the world. Like you've lost. Like the first half of that game is you trying to stop the Emperor and eventually Kefka, and then Kefka succeeds.
Yeah.
Totally succeeds.
I was gonna say you have succeeded
No.
because I was saying have succeeded because you stopped one villain, but you didn't get the other.
Well, that's the thing. You don't stop the Emperor. The Emperor is killed by Kefka. Like the whole thing is like you're trying to stop the Emperor from getting more power and eventually trying to get into this alternate pocket realm where the gods of magic basically like control magic, and you fail. Like the whole point is that you've been played by the Emperor and Kefka, and you've been stopped. And he basically, like, the Emperor's like, yes, I've succeeded. Kefka's like, no, I've succeeded. He kills the Emperor. And he changes the balance of the three gods of magic, making him the god of magic. And then basically says, now you have to worship me, Kefka. And people are like, fuck you. And he's like, oh, yeah? And he breaks the world. I mean, that is, like, I haven't seen a Final Fantasy the balls to do that thing.
Yeah, I admit that is one of the epic twist of a story. It's just that I was thinking that that's a half success because you only stopped one villain, but then again,
you don't stop either the Emperor or Kefka. You fail utterly.
I was saying that you get. I mean, in the end, the Emperor is slain, but the clown still wins.
Yeah, but you don't
That's
even.
what I was saying.
Like so you utterly and completely fail. It's. I mean, how many games? Like the only game that I know of that has you fail entirely, or you're working for the bad guy the entire time, is maybe Baten Kaitos, the first Baten Kaitos game, where it turns out
one of
villain the entire
the
time.
Old Republic tried that stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not ironic because the same people that made Baten Kaitos, Monolith Soft, those are the same people who, before they left Squaresoft, were making Final Fantasy and Chrono Triggers and stuff like that. So, I mean, you know, it's a trope that they've used before, but I'm just saying it's amazing to see it done. I mean, they did the same thing in
yeah, you're right.
Chronicles, the first one, where, ooh, spoiler alert, you're actually working for the bad guy for a little bit, for like 2/3 of the game. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty damn good. I like it. Anyone have any other ones? Any other oh my god moments where it's like, oh shit, I can't believe this. They did it. Nothing?
Nah, nothing I can think of.
All right. I guess we can get to...
I'm gonna say that if anything, we did go through what we should have, even though I never had a chance to figure out which one exactly what was my thing. But hey.
Oh really? Well, I tell you what, we'll get to some of the news of the week, and you can think of one, and then just buzz in when you can think of one. All right.
All right. It's just that if anything, it's more of a aha, they finally done it in a game moment than a storytelling moment, which I called it on the spot. That was more cinematic than discover the feeling of new controls in a sense. Well, at least 2 out of 3.
All right. Okay, so let's see. I guess before we can get into it, does anyone want to give their thoughts about Captain Marvel? Who saw it?
I did. It was decent.
When I hear people talk about Captain Marvel, I just wonder when Endgame's coming out. 'Cause that's probably going to be.
It comes out next month, I believe.
Or maybe the month after next. I can't remember.
It might be the last. That might be the last movie of those I might see for a while.
It might be June. I think it might be June. I can't remember.
Anybody on comic book movie fatigue yet?
No, I'm getting a little burnt out on Marvel. Like, I'm looking forward to Hellboy, even though when I see the trailers for it, the guy who is playing Hellboy, he's doing a really, really awesome impression of the guy who played Hellboy before, whose name escapes me right now.
What about the original Captain Marvel?
Ron Perlman,
aka Shazam.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that kind of pissed me off with Captain Marvel was just like, okay, look, I get that you guys are trying to push Brie Larson as this strong female protagonist, but here's the problem. Like, I actually know the origins of this character, and I don't like the fact that you've completely shit on the original character in order to make your new character look strong.
I'm not.
Captain Marvel.
I'm actually talking about the original Captain Marvel from DC.
Well, there was.
There's also a guy named Captain Marvel.
Yeah, there's Shazam, and then there's Marvel, who they basically don't even mention in the new Captain Marvel movie. And then there's like Carol Danvers, who got her powers when Marvel was, I think, like trying to stop something, and she was there, and like his powers like left his body and went into her, and it's kind of confusing. But I mean, they don't even mention it, and I'm like, why would you like it? I mean, Marvel's done this before. Like when they killed off Ultimate Peter Parker so that they could make Miles Morales the Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm like, why would you shit on Peter Parker just to make Miles Morales look good? Fuck you. I don't like that.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry, my brain broke for a moment.
I mean, the reason why they changed Carol Danvers' origin story because they thought it was too similar to Green Lantern.
Really?
People want to forget and remember we had a bad Green Lantern movie.
I think that's bullshit. I think the reason they did it was because basically they wanted to make her into a strong female protagonist. And it wouldn't be good to make a strong female protagonist who owes her the origin of her powers to some guy. Like, they weren't having that, so they were like, no, we got to change it. And I mean, listen. Personally speaking, the movie was okay. I think, like I said, the greatest problem is that Brie Larson is a shitty actress.
I don't understand. I don't understand how they would have a problem with that, just by the fact that there are a lot of superheroes out there, like the Green Lantern, whose origin story is they got the ring from some guy. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. But like I said,
both Hal Jordan and Carol Danvers are once jet pilots.
But that's still not really okay. Look, that really is not the problem. The problem is that she got her power. They did not want to have. Okay, they built Captain Marvel to be this strong female protagonist. They cannot continue with that narrative if she gets her powers from some guy. Like they can't allow that. So they changed it. Kind of like how, because they wanted Doctor Strange to do well in China, they couldn't have the Ancient One actually be
a Chinese stereotype.
An ancient Tibetan monk. That couldn't be done. That couldn't. No. We can't have an ancient Tibetan monk. And before anyone says that's a stereotype, look, Tibet is a separate country from China. So first of all, it's not a Chinese stereotype. Second of all, I mean, like, there actually are Tibetan monks in Tibet. They're Buddhist monasteries in Tibet. Okay, there actually are those people that do that shit. There's also martial arts monasteries in Tibet. Where the different monasteries will get the monks will basically they have this thing in Buddhism where like the monks can like for like a day or two they can like defrock themselves and unwind, and so they'll go and get drunk and then like have martial arts fights in the streets. It's badass as fuck. but no, they were like, no, we don't want to piss off.
Highly dangerous.
Yeah, they were like, we don't want to piss off China, so we're gonna turn the ancient one into a white lady, because that's totally not offensive.
And then there's the Mandarin, who was also
and then they fucked up the Mandarin too. I'm like, why do you guys keep on? Why are you so afraid to embrace the origins of these characters? I thought the Mandarin was pretty cool. He's this guy who was taken as a slave by it's implied Genghis Khan, and basically. Like when his master dies, he has one of those rings, the ring of longevity. And basically, like if you have one of the rings, the other like you get called to the other rings. So because the rings want to be together. So basically, when the guy dies, he steals it and he begins to gather the other rings, and that's why it's called the 10 Rings organization. Because with all 10 rings, the Mandarin becomes like almost like a superhuman god type being. And that's badass as fuck. Did we get that in that third movie? Fuck no.
No, because they don't want to embrace outdated racial stereotypes.
Not really, no.
I mean, those were common back in those days.
I don't consider the Mandarin to be an outdated racist stereotype. An outdated racist stereotype is if you have black dudes eating fried chicken, drinking Kool-Aid, eating watermelon, talking like this, yeah, bruh. Jab, turkey. That's an outdated racist stereotype.
And something that still makes me face palm.
I'll tell you another outdated racist stereotype, because they love to do this. Having some white guy learn martial arts and be better at it than Asian people who developed it. Like Kung Fu and Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, Iron Fist was always white since the original comics.
Yeah, and it sucked. But anyway, yeah, I don't understand why they're so afraid to do shit the way that it was originally built, but I mean, I don't care, because I mean, I don't. Like, here's the thing: I don't have to watch every. I don't have to watch every movie.
You don't need to watch a comic book movie.
Yeah. I mean, there's other comic book movies I can watch. Like, I can watch Hellboy. I mean, actually, believe it or not, I like Hellboy. And every time I go to the movies and I see a fucking trailer for Hellboy, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, man, I really wish Guillermo del Toro could make this movie. Like, I don't want to go watch that movie and be like, man, I wish Guillermo del Toro was making this movie.
Oh, continuing with the comics talk, Legendary just announced a comic adaptation for Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
He seemed very despondent.
Well, I mean, I like Detective Pikachu. I like the idea behind Detective Pikachu, and I just wish it was just its own thing. I wish it was just, okay, it's a movie, move on with it, and a video game. But why?
If you think you're annoyed about it, I got annoyed about it because it's coming to the card game too.
Well, I mean, hell, it's still going to be better than that shitty cartoon with Ash Ketchum. So I can't.
Ha ha ha.
Oh, good. Oh, great, guys. It's been like 20 years and I'm still 12 years old. No, you're not 12. You've got a glandular disorder.
He's actually 10.
I was going to make the joke that for once, the anime is better than the game for one generation. So if anything, let me have that, please.
Well, if you're talking about the Pokemon Origins anime, you're right. If you're talking about the
You're not
one
letting
that started with Ash Ketchum and Brock and Misty and
Yeah, what
all
was
their
that? That was a tragedy. That's what that anime
and
was.
Pikachu. God, I hate that anime. Jesus, I hate that anime so very much. I hate it with the intensity of 1,000 suns. But anyway, I guess we can talk about some other things. Since we
now I
basically
remember which one I just think I was saying thanks for the hold up. Since if anything, it just reminded me of the one time I actually enjoyed the motion controls enough to actually have some good fun with it.
And what was it?
Believe it or not, the Donkey Kong for the Wii.
Oh, really?
Actually returns.
Yep.
Really?
Those are. I think the motion controls only work for like doing his ground pound and blowing.
Yeah, but I mean, if that works,
Ground pounding and getting, and I think it really clicked to me when I finally got through some of those heavy beeping rude bosses and got to beat the ever living stars out of them.
Oh, you mean when you get in close and then punch the shit out of them with Donkey Kong?
Those things.
Yep.
Multi-hit finales.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Sing it.
We keep it all up JoJo style.
Donkey.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, God,
I would love another Donkey Kong 64, and I know people are going to get angry at me. They're going to be like, "How dare you?" Look, listen.
I'm iffy about that, but I can understand where you're coming from because that's a collectathon that was into the extremes.
Well, I mean, for me, what will make it work is if they dialed back the collectathoniness, dial it back to like 60% of what it was. Make it so that like you didn't have to switch out like every Kong in order to get stuff. It's just whoever you had available, and but you know, keep the sense of humor and like the weapons and the maybe make the platforming a little bit better, and that could work.
I agree on the collectibles at least because seriously, there's 5 colors, 5 Kongs.
Yeah, like maybe you have 5 Kongs. We don't need Chunky if you have Donkey, because Donkey Kong can fulfill the role of you know, the big guy. Instead of Tiny, have Dixie. You can keep Diddy because you know he's been there for a while. I don't know.
Tiny's no longer a Dixie size. She's now got a growth spur in later entries.
I mean, I think maybe make Cranky a playable character again. Hitting people with a stick, with his cane.
Ow, ow, ow.
And probably bring in the meme Kong himself, Lanky Kong.
I mean, Lanky Kong's cool. I was gonna say bring Funky in. Bring Funky in as a playable character.
The surfer.
Yeah, bring Funky in back.
But Mr. Red Fox just said you don't want another Kong that's too similar to DK.
What I was thinking is instead of having him be like DK, have him be like he was in Donkey Kong 64, where he just had lots and lots of guns. Like I think that would be a very interesting character. Like he has lots and lots of guns. And because I mean, it would work really well. Like when he does his music attack, he pulls out a boombox and starts dancing and getting down because he's funky. He's Funky Kong.
Yeah, I was just saying that he's the one that dispenses the weapons to you. Like,
DK Donkey.
Sorry, I had to step away. What are you guys talking about?
I was talking about how I would love to see another Donkey Kong game, but just dial back the collectathoniness so that it's not as much of a real, you know what. But aside from that, just another Donkey Kong game.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, like I'm kind of a sucker for Donkey Kong, so like that's my weakness. Like I like 3D open world platformers with collectathon. I like stuff like that. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And the more stuff I have to collect, the happier I am. And I know some people are going to get mad and be like, how could you? Look, that's what I like, okay? Not everyone is going to have the same taste in games.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't want everyone to have the same taste in games. I mean, I wouldn't want everyone to have the same taste in games. That'd be terrible. Do you know how boring things would be if everyone wanted to play the same? Every game would be FIFA, Madden, and Call of Duty.
Every year, every day.
Every game, every year would be that game. I couldn't do it.
Ain't nobody ready for that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if gaming was that, you know what? I wouldn't even play games anymore. I'd just be like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. What? I can't do it. I can't.
Speaking of like games like Madden, they should have like an NFL pass so you can just like get the roster updates every year.
Yeah, but then EA couldn't make all that money selling you the same game over and over again with minor variations. So
that's worse than what Pokemon does. That's for sure.
yeah, Pokemon's like, we'll sell you both. We'll sell you. Look, you want the full game? You got to have both of these, both versions, or trade with somebody. I don't want to trade with anybody. Well,
trust me.
Well, suck
if
it up,
anything, the
Buttercup.
trading is
they made trading easy.
as far as trying. Yeah.
Because back in the day, you used to have to have a link cable and find somebody who could trade. Now you can just go on it's all wireless, which is cheaper, or you can, trade with yourself with the Pokemon Bank.
Haha.
That's what I did. Like back in the day, I just buy 2 versions of the game and then just trade with myself. Because I don't know about you, but here's what would happen with me when I traded with people. They would always trade me a trash Pokemon. Like even if it was the type I wanted, it didn't have a moves that I would teach that Pokemon. Like if I wanted a Graveler that would turn into a Golem, right? They would have a Graveler that knew like Tackle, Rock Throw, like some trash ass moves, and I'm like I traded you a Pokemon that knew some decent moves. Why would you trade me a Pokemon that knows trash ass moves? So then I have to waste my TMs, you bastard.
I was gonna say that if anything, that means that they
thank goodness for reasonable TMs.
Yeah, this was before they had that. So basically, I have to use my TMs, because
I'm one of those people that actually went through the deals, unlike those other people. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that BS.
And that's why I'm so happy that I finally that only happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times before I finally just said fuck it and just bought both versions. So then I traded with myself, which made it so much easier because then I didn't have to worry about someone trading me a shitty Pokemon with shitty move sets. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna send the best over and send myself a decent Pokemon, so then both versions would have good Pokemon. And then I got Pokemon Stadium just so that I could have some place to store my Pokemon, so that I no longer had to do any of that shit. It was great. Yeah, the things we had to do in order to manipulate our Pokemon back in the day. It was not a fun experience, kids. Be thankful that $5 a year for the Pokemon Bank is what it turned into, because it used to be a lot harder to trade Pokemon and do any of that shit. So I don't want anyone to say that shit ever again. I don't want anyone, yeah, Pokemon is a ripoff. It is a ripoff, but it used to be a lot worse.
So then, anything else?
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say before we move on to the gaming news of the week?
Well, we have no. Oh wait. Let's see. I heard that Marvel was in the movie. They just gender swapped him. No, Marvel was not in the movie.
They rubbed his storyline out.
Yeah. Marvel
makes me groan.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It would be like, okay, it would be the equivalent of doing a Spider-Man movie, but Peter Parker doesn't get his powers from getting bitten by a radioactive spider. Like, it's like a core tenet of the character. So why would you take that out? Well, we didn't want to make people who are arachnophobic.
There is that one time they did make a Spider-Man.
Yeah, there is, but it's kind of
and that happened
Japanese anime where that doesn't count. Because Spider-Man has a mech and a motorcycle and he can transform. That doesn't count. Come on, man, that doesn't count.
I was about to say,
and there's also that Japanese anime schoolgirl Penny Parker who everyone is trying to lewd on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, that Japanese Spider-Man doesn't count as a canonical character because it's so far removed. It's kind of like Japanese Star Wars, the manga. That has nothing to do with like Star Wars, the lore. Because that's the one where like
I thought you were. To be honest with you, I thought you would go with Batman for that one.
No. I'm sorry, no. Look, Japan can do a lot of stuff, but when they take something that's specifically American and then fuck it up by Japanifying it. I hate to say it, Japanifying it. No.
So you're kind of like you go both ways with that. Like when Americans take something from Japan and Americify it, and you don't like it. You don't like it the other way.
Well, because half the time they fuck it up. I mean, remember Godzilla '98? Godzilla. I mean, the only good thing about that is the theme song from Puff Daddy, "Come With Me." That's because he samples Kashmir from Aerosmith.
It's actually Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, yeah. He samples Kashmir. That's the only good thing about it. And the music video is kind of cool because like Puff Daddy's like screaming and yelling. I'm like, what are you angry about, man? What's going on? But I mean, sometimes it works. Like, okay, like the new Godzilla film looks like it's gonna be good. I mean, sometimes Japan takes something that's specifically Japanese and fucks it up, like Shin Godzilla,
or the anime trilogy,
or the Godzilla anime, which they fucked up, or the animated Castlevania, which is also kind of fucked up. So, I mean, sometimes Japan can take their own shit and fuck it up. But I know 9 times out of 10, if they take something that's like American and they're like, yeah, we're gonna bring it to the Japanese, I'm like, well, they're probably gonna fuck it up. Like Spider-Man. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I would rather watch the 1978, 79 Spider-Man that basically sounds like the opening sounds like a porno track, music wise. But it is pretty good. It's very disco-tastic. It's very, very disco-tastic. As a matter of fact, I think I might have a sample of it right here. Let me look it up. Spider-Man 70s intro. actually pretty good. Someone go get the disco ball. Some guy to. Okay, that's enough of that. But anyway, before we get sued. But I mean, like, I mean, I'd rather listen to that than watch them destroy Spider-Man with a mech. And why does Spider-Man need a mech? Where does he get the money to have a mech? For a guy
That makes me wonder. That makes me wonder who the Hades supplied some of that.
Well, it's Japan.
I
so.
mean, I'd say that's SPD kinds of WTF.
Now, if they wanted to make Spider-Man Japanese, here's what they should have done. They should have done Japanese Spider-Man as a ninja set in feudal Japan. That would have made more sense. And make it animated. But let's get to the news of the week. Go ahead. Take it off, sir.
So there, just recently, like about 7 hours ago, there's a rumor about a Monster Hunter game that's in the works for the Switch. And it'll be arriving at about early 2020 in the latest, or late 2019 in the earliest. Of course, everybody's just expecting a Monster Hunter game for the Switch.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the question is it going to be good?
I mean, fans are speculating it to be something called like Monster Hunter NX or Monster Hunter Next. So it's not going to be Monster Hunter World in that matter.
I hope not. I was not impressed with Monster Hunter World.
Even if it was more easily acceptable for you compared to previous titles.
I just wasn't really impressed with it. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's not terrible, but I'm not like, oh my god, this has changed my life.
Yeah. And something that's not is not a rumor. Sega has confirmed that the next Sonic mainline title is in production.
Yeah, but the question is it going to be good?
I was going to ask, is it going to be 3D or 2D? Because if anything, we can already guess how it'll fly by that point.
Yeah, if it's 3D, it's probably not going to be very good because Sega has not proven that they make good 3D games. Sorry, good Sonic 3D games.
Well, it says the latest mainline Sonic game after Sonic Forces, which means it's going to be 3D once again, most likely. Ooh,
so basically, it's going to be bad.
Unless it's Sonic Colors / Generations good.
Yeah, but Sonic Generations wasn't that good either. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like...
Are you sure a vast majority of Sonic fans actually enjoyed Generations?
I don't think it was that good. But what do I know? I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. So like, I'm not enamored with the character.
Moving on. This one's from 2 days ago. Nintendo is seeking feedback for Nintendo Switch Online at Nintendo.com.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
Their own official website.
Not going to touch it.
Ha ha.
Not
you might.
Because it's too easy.
Yeah, you're gonna complain all about it. I can hear it.
That's why I'm not saying anything. You know, my mother always said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. So I'm not going to say anything.
And okay, moving on. Media Create will stop sharing Japanese video game sales data with the public next month.
Oh, that's a shame. I liked looking at Media Create because I liked seeing just how many Xbox Ones were selling in Japan because it was always some abysmally low number.
I
It
was
was
gonna
like
make
the
the
best
joke.
thing ever.
Of course, this is also
Maybe they sold 10.
No, it was like 31 last week. They sold 31.
Of course, I also feel that this is going to be working in Sony's favor because they don't want to. So then they can fudge the truth on their sales numbers on their own first party titles.
Which don't do that well in Japan because Sony does not typically do that well in Japan. I don't know why people think they do, but they don't. Not anymore.
Yeah, they're pretty much an American company at this point.
Even though they originated from Japan when they used to fix radios during post World War II Japan.
Well, actually, the first product they ever released publicly was a rice cooker that pretty much sucked at making rice. It would burn the rice. How far they've come. Amazing. But anyway, yeah. I mean, personally, I just think maybe they just weren't getting enough. Like, I think maybe because the Media Create in Japan is like the NPD here, where basically like companies pay to have their sales numbers tracked. Like they pay to have them officially tracked. And I think just certain companies just don't find it worth their money to spend to have it tracked officially. They can do it internally, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's sad because, like I said, I liked seeing how much the Xbox One was selling. Xbox One Media Create number. Wait, I gotta look this up. Look, Xbox One Media Create numbers.
Oh God.
Okay. Here's how many Xbox Ones were sold.
And it's over 20.
It is over 20.
Call.
It is okay. So the Switch sold 45,500. Or sorry, yeah, 45,500. The new 3DS sold 25 and almost 25,700. The PS4 sold 25,006. The Vita, it's still hanging in there. It sold 7,000 something. The 2DS sold 6,000 something. The PS3 sold whatever. The Xbox One is hanging in there, folks. You know how much it sold last week? 187.
Wow.
You know what outsold the Xbox One in Japan? The Wii U.
Wow.
Oh, has to hurt.
I mean, think of it like this. There were people. And that was a Media Create from 2 years ago. Media Create. I'm gonna look up one that's more recent because I'm pretty sure the number is even more embarrassing.
Outlandish.
Okay, so here's the Media Create numbers for this week. Or sorry, last week. This week. Yeah. Or sorry, last week. units. Okay, the Switch sold 69,000, almost 7,000. The PlayStation 4 sold 25,000. The PlayStation 4 Pro sold 7,000. The new 2DS LL sold 4,000. The PlayStation Vita sold 3,000. The new 3DS LL sold 1,000. The Xbox One X sold 83, and the Xbox One sold 14. So combined, they sold like less than 100.
Ooh.
Like I want to say 93, which is still more than they sold the week before, which was 67 and 23. Like I don't know why Microsoft released the console in Japan. Like I don't know why.
I think it's to try to get.
Well, they had to because they're part of the big three.
No, I think it's because they wanted to try to reach out to grab some kind of market.
No, because Nintendo's part of the big three, and yet Nintendo doesn't sell their console everywhere. Like there's certain places where you can't get a Nintendo console. There's certain places where you can't get a PlayStation console.
It's usually the big three regions: America, Japan, and Europe.
Yeah, but there's certain places in South America where you cannot buy a console, whether it be Sony, Xbox, or Nintendo console. You can't buy them. They aren't sold there. There might be people who want it, but they aren't sold there. So,
as I said, the only reason that I think be going that far will be that they're trying to reach a bigger audience for it.
Yeah, but the Xbox has never done well in Japan. Like I don't, I mean, like I said, I've said this analogy before. The Microsoft selling their console in Japan is like you're a straight man going to a lesbian bar. There's literally nothing that you have that people in that bar want.
Yep.
Or a more safe for work option is, hey, I'm a barbecue. I cook barbecue pigs, a whole pig on the pit, and I'm going to a vegan food festival. Like seriously, you. Now, I'm not saying you might not get a few people who might on the slide might have red big hair, but by and large, you are not going to do that well. Okay. So why even show up?
Yeah.
And do we have any region-exclusive consoles, like console systems only available in one region, nowhere else?
I mean, we had the Atari Jaguar, which was only in America for a while. The TurboGrafx 16 was only in Japan for a little bit. And then it was called the PC Engine in Japan, and they brought it over because it was a smaller console launch. But by and large, I mean, there are some consoles like in Russia, you had the Tandy Vision, which was a NES knockoff. No, sorry, Dendy. It was called the Dendy, and it was a NES knockoff, and that was region specific. So, I mean, there's times where you'll have a region specific thing, but generally speaking, if a console is successful enough, it'll find an audience someplace. But the hilarious thing about the Xbox One is that there is no audience for it in Japan. Like, just none. Like, I don't even know why they fucking sell it there.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't get it either.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the Chewbacca defense from
South Park.
From South Park. It's like, Chewbacca's a Wookiee, yet he lives on Kashyyyk. It makes no sense. Like, basically, the Xbox is a console that does not do well in Japan, so why the fuck would you... Like, and when I say it doesn't do well, I don't mean... It's not like the Wii U, in, like, where Nintendo made money on it. Like The Xbox One does so poorly that it's not even like you don't even want to look at the numbers. It's like okay, it's kind of like when you're in school and you fail a test, but you get like a 69, a 68. It means that you still knew half of the material. Like, I mean, you get an F that's so low that it's like it's under 30, which means you didn't do shit. Like, you didn't understand anything. And that's basically kind of like Microsoft. Like, at a certain point, you just say, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, and that's why I'm kind of sad that Media Create is Media Create's going away because, man, I like looking and seeing how badly the Xbox One's doing. It's a source of comfort to know that no matter how fucked up the world is, there's always going to be one constant, and that's that Microsoft ain't going to do shit in Japan. It's like gravity works, you know, fluid dynamics still works, and Microsoft can't do shit in Japan, so it works. It works out pretty well for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Unless you're Microsoft, but Microsoft has more money than God, so they'll be fine.
Moving on to other news, Turok is confirmed to have gyro controls for the Switch version, so that's going to be a definite buy for me.
I don't even think that game's going to be good with gyro controls, but whatever.
I mean, it's a first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
And gyro controls is the closest thing to having mouse and keyboard controls.
Yeah, but this is a port of the N64 Turok games, like Turok 1 and 2.
Yeah, Turok 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't think that game is really going to do all that well with gyro controls. But hey, you know, you can take that hit and tell us if it works.
I will. So I'm sure it's going to have some sensitivity options to make it more smoothly.
All right. Anything else? Any other things?
Let's see. Oh yeah, Dragon Ball FighterZ is getting yet another variation of Goku as DLC.
Let me get Bardock.
No, it's the GT variant. It's the GT Goku.
Oh God! Oh hell no! No.
I think somebody's bolts are loose.
I would be happier with Bardock because Bardock
is already in the game as DLC in the first season last year.
Why is he DLC when he's literally just a palette swap of Goku anyway?
Because he doesn't because his moveset is different than Goku. He doesn't do the Kamehameha or the Spirit Bomb.
Oh, I mean, physically he looks the same. It's not like they had to do all that much work. It's just some bullshit, man.
Also, Seto, screw the rules. I have money. Kaiba is the first announced DLC character for Jump Force, in case anyone actually cared about that game.
Who? Seto Kaiba?
Yep.
The blue eyes white dragon tore up Yugi Muto's grandfather's blue eyes white dragon card because he's an asshole.
That's Seto
Kaiba. My God, you know, Jump Force could have been so awesome, but it's just a shitty cash grab and not even a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty annoying, isn't it?
I didn't spend money on it, so I mean, like originally when they announced it, I'm like, this could be awesome, and then the more I saw of it, I'm like, wow, this is bad. Kind of like how that new Dragon Ball World, whatever they're calling it,
Yeah.
looks like. I was like, man, this looks awesome. And then the more I saw, man, this is just a fucking card game. Like someone's like, no, it's
really?
it's a fucking card game.
Oh,
And not even like a deep card game. It's not like Bait Kato's deep. It's like just you collect your heroes and they're in card form, and it's a card game. It's a positioning card game. So lazy.
That's lame.
Yeah. I was like, I
That's
just
lazy
knew it was going to be
storytelling.
some cool shit. No. Why can't they make a simple Dragon Ball Z game? That's all I want. I just want a Dragon Ball Z game, RPG, where you can fight enemies, level up, and beat the shit out of people. That's it. Why is this so hard?
Because having good games is difficult, I guess. I don't know. They gotta do something weird. They gotta change the formula, you know.
Keep on fucking up.
Sometimes the formula is perfect, or sometimes the formula just needs a bit of seasoning. It doesn't need the entire recipe remixed.
I still say the Legacy of Goku 2 and Legend of the Super Saiyans, the Monolith Soft like RPG that basically used like the same engine that they had for Namco cross Bandai cross Sega, and the second game. Like that was like the best. Those were like the best Dragon Ball Z games, and they were just RPGs. You leveled up, you gained new skills and abilities.
You're talking about Project X Zone?
Yeah, Project X Zone.
I mean, I've seen people who are rather mixed about the game in general.
Well, I mean,
including Game Explain.
I'm not talking about like I give a fuck what Game Explain says. I'm not saying the game is for everybody, but I'm saying the battle system is really fun and frenetic, and it requires skill, and yet once you get into it, you really can get into it. And yet they keep on fucking it up. That's all people want is a simple Dragon Ball game. Just stop fucking it up. No, can't help it. Keep on fucking it up. Oh well. Maybe it'll get better someday.
Someday.
Maybe.
Not today.
Maybe one day we'll get a good Dragon Ball Z game, but not today.
Not today.
Yeah, not today. Like the best Dragon Ball Z fighting game I've played thus far, and I know people are going to say Dragon Ball Fighters, but I haven't played that yet, is still Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. It's the best one I've played.
How hard is it to make a good Dragon Ball Z fighting game, too? Like, it took this long to make, at least in my opinion, it took this long to make a decent fighting game.
Well, like I said, they did Budokai 3 and then shit for years and years, and then Dragon Ball Fighter, which is really good. So it took, what, 10 years?
They still haven't made a good Naruto fighting game.
Yeah.
Still waiting for that to happen. I don't think we're getting that.
I don't think we're ever going to get one because Namco Bandai has no incentive to make a good Naruto fighting game.
God, those Naruto Storm games are bad. Like, I mean, I enjoyed them. Like, it's like bad junk food.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean,
like
I was entertained.
I want to go to McDonald's and eat something that's just not good for you. Just every once in a while, maybe once every 3 or 4 months, you got to have some fries and a Big Mac and a Coke and like, fuck it. I've been eating healthy for 4 months. I want to eat something not good for me to just fuck it.
Like the Storm games are bad. The Storm games are bad games that I mildly enjoy.
Have you played any of the Naruto RPGs on the Game Boy S on the DS or the 3DS?
No, not yet. No,
they're pretty good. Those. You might be able to get them cheap.
Yeah,
used. But what other news did you have, Pinky, before we?
Yeah. One more piece of news. Google Chrome is adding support for Nintendo Switch Pro Controller and Joy-Cons.
Oh, that's cool. I can use my Pro controller at some point, which is
and
nice.
and it'll be next week.
Oh man, that's even better. Oh.
So what are they doing?
They're adding Switch and their Switch Pro controller and Joy-Con controller support to Google Chrome,
Oh, sweet.
which is cool because like I spent $69 on this damn controller, and I haven't even been playing my Switch that much because a lot of games that come to the Switch are also coming to PC, and I can get them cheaper on PC because of that damn Switch tax, that damn Nintendo tax, where they're like, well, because we have to use cartridges that are like, let's say the discs that they use for the Blu-ray disc they use for Xbox One and PS4 are 5 cents. The little cartridges are maybe like 50 cents. They're like, oh man, we got to pass that cost on to you. I'm like, man, it's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Though that can be blamed on mostly the third parties trying to be cheap.
You know, normally I would agree with you, but it smacks of bullshit to me. Especially when you look at something like Capcom with their Resident Evil prices. Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Highly so.
I mean, how are you gonna charge someone? How the hell are you gonna charge someone like $29.99 for a game that they can get on other platforms for like $10, brand new?
Yeah.
See, that's what bothers me. And don't tell me, oh well, you know, we had to spend so much to bring it over. Man, fuck, that's bullshit. Because at the end of the day, okay, if it was for the physical version, I'd say okay, fine. But they're doing it for the digital version too. And at the end of the day, no matter what network you're using, whether it be Nintendo's online or PlayStation's online or the Xbox online or PC, it's data.
Yeah.
The data isn't radically different depending on what platform you're on. So that's just it's bullshit. They just want to nickel and dime people.
Yeah.
So sadly, a lot of games that come to the Switch, I don't get on the Switch unless like it's only going to be on the Switch for a long time, and I get on something else, which is sad.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah. Anyone else have anything they want to bring up before we wrap things up? Since we got started early and we can end a little bit early because we started early.
Oh, I just recently shared a tweet of an official Splatoon relationship chart, which is something that Japan usually does for all of their mediums, from anime, manga, video games.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
Like whether they're friends or in a relationship.
No, I get it. I'm just saying it's weird.
So what the heck are they doing?
More weird Japanese stuff. That's what weird shit that has no bearing on anything. Like, why would you care about the relationship of fictitious characters?
Because it makes you it gives the characters more depth for the viewers.
Only if you don't have a life. People wonder why Japan's birth rate's so low, because they worry about shit like this. They worry about fake relationships and not real ones.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's not really. The reason why Japan's birth rate is so low is due to their working.
Dude, I was being facetious. I'm well aware of why their birth rate is low. Did a massive research paper on it. I'm pretty sure I know why. But anyway, yeah, as I was saying, it's weird. It's weird. But you know, if it makes them happy to learn about little private relationships characters have, you know, knock themselves out. I mean, I remember playing Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one, and there was actually there was actually a huge relationship chart you could build between all the characters, and it helped you figure out side quests and stuff like that. So, I mean, I understand the appeal of it. I'm just saying that it's just, you know, I was being facetious with my disdain of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, anyone else have anything they want to pimp out? Any anime they want to say, hey, this shit's awesome, play it, or else?
Not really. I mean, I've been playing Devil May Cry 5, and that's not bad.
Really?
It's not as good as 3. I think 3 is still the best one, but
yeah, but that was like the last one that one had like the best of the best working on it. You had Shinji Mikami and Hideki Kamiya working on that one.
yeah, and out of the original 4, I think it's the one that holds up the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I'm not one of those people like, oh, how dare you have a different opinion than me.
Do you like the first one?
Devil May Cry? No, I like Devil May Cry 2.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Are you
wow.
serious?
I like Devil May Cry 2. The how can I put this? I like the secondary version that fixed a lot of the problems. You know,
But
Okay.
DMC2 is highly regarded as the worst of the series.
I mean,
I mean, if you get the secondary version where they fix a lot of the problems, like we're sorry we fucked it up with the original version, that's good. That's the version I like.
Do any of you remember the original Devil May Cry 3? Have any of you played that?
Oh God, the
You mean
terribleness of that one.
so hard that they had
It
to
was-
second version to apologize how fucking hard that game was. They were like,
Yeah.
like they did the same thing with the first one. That's the thing. Like with the second one, it's like there's Devil May Cry 2, and then there's Devil May Cry 2
The Apology Edition.
well, it's like called Black or Joker or something like that. It's like the second version that like they did as an apology for how hard, and because basically, the problem with DMC has always been, except for the reboot they did, was that like DMC has a really steep difficulty curve.
Yeah.
Like the first few levels are kind of easy, and then like once you get to the third level, the game gets like Ninja Gaiden hard. And like the new Ninja Gaiden, the Tomonobu Itagaki Ninja Gaiden, where it's like, okay, we're just gonna kick you in the nuts for the next 15 minutes.
See, the thing about the reason I guess I like Devil May Cry 3 the best is because that was the first one of those kind of games I've ever played. You know.
So for you, it's like there's like nostalgia in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, you're entitled to it. I mean, like, here's the thing. Everyone's going to have nostalgia. It's kind of like how people think like, the first Final Fantasy they played was Final Fantasy VII. So for them, that's the best one ever, even though objectively they're probably better Final Fantasies out there than Final Fantasy VII. Like for me, DMC, like, I mean, it's kind of a problem with all of Platinum's games is that, except for maybe Okami, like the difficulty curve of their games is just insane.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem with Platinum's games is that like there isn't like decent. The difficulty curve isn't decent. It's like, oh, it's kind of easy, and then oh shit, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, oh well. So, anyone else have anything they want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
No, because I had to get back to playing Splatoon 2. The spot. Because of the spot.
Man, you're get that squid off your shoulder.
Apparently, the Division 2 isn't that bad.
Thankfully,
I didn't get it. Ubisoft offered me, gave me like a $5 coupon to get it, and I was like, nah. After the first division, I don't want to take a chance on this one.
Yeah.
Like Ubisoft's games, especially their open world games, are very hit or miss for me. Like I got Watch Dogs 2 for free, like all the DLC and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, and I played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is one of the most boring open world games I've ever played.
Yeah.
Ouch.
The one thing an open world game should not be is boring. Like you shouldn't be like, this is a chore to get from point A to point B. And yet Watch Dogs, the first Watch Dogs was like that. It was just boring. Everything was a damn chore.
Have we played the first division?
I played a little bit of it. I found it to be boring.
Yeah.
And buggy.
Yeah.
But mostly boring.
Huh.
But
yeah,
anyway,
I heard the code ate itself.
Yeah, it was so badly coded that like when they added a patch, it would basically just make it even worse.
Yeah.
That's not good. But anyway, let's see if there are any comments in the comment section, and we'll answer them. And if not, we'll end it. Okay, then. I heard that Marvel was Jenga in the United States, Mr. Fox. Am I in the United States? Yes, I am. Anata wa Nihon no Fukusu shi ni. Man, I can't read that. Nihon ni sunde imasuka. Man, I can't help it, Ichio. Mashimo Talome. I can't help it. My Japanese is very, very iffy. My Romaji is also iffy.
Yeah.
And my kanji is non-existent. But with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Everyone pimped out what they want to pimp out. I'm pretty sure. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. If you want to reach me, Mr. Red Fox, you can reach me at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91 on Twitter. You can reach me also at Mr. Red Fox BS Busters at gmail.com. That's all lowercase. Yeah. So, and I'm going to try and get some videos out this week if I have the time, but frankly speaking, I've got people working on my house again, trying to increase the market value of this property. It's going to take a little bit. And so, I mean, if time is not really...
BRB, be right back.
If time isn't really, if they're not cooperating, then they're not cooperating. And they're going to be working. So it is what it is. So I'll try my best. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Go to Video Game Facts, subscribe. You can comment. I think it's open to anyone. Just be respectful and don't put troll comments or troll topics. or if you're a bot trying to spam people with advertisements, that's not good either. So yeah, Video Game Facts, peace out. Also have a Discord called BS Busters, which is the official Discord of this channel. I will go in the process of opening that up for people so we can build the BS Buster community. So that being said, that's the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe, and peace.